good to see that no one is with masks, so I think they are free to ask any questions.
It's a pleasure when you get a chance to listen to both of your favorite speakers in just 40 minutes time. My question to Dr. A.K. Singh is that we have seen that cardiovascular benefits of Cana are more in the Credence trial as compared to the Canvas trial, because these are the patients who are suffering from CKD. But in clinical practice, these are the patients where we are most apprehensive about the using SGLT2 inhibitors, especially in those patients with impaired ejection fraction. So what is your take on this?
Absolutely right. I mean, you are absolutely right in the sense that these are the patients actually those who benefited in the Credence trial. But this is the reluctancy. I mean, we are always conservative, and there's no harm in become conservative. You need to get convinced before you prescribe the molecule. I think that is the only deterrence which we have. But from the evidence perspective, these are the actual patients who would be benefited with the SGLT2 inhibitor. As I said, even the DCGI has very recently given the Cana this new, additional leveling of reduction in kidney disease and heart failure in patients with CKD. So now you have got legal backup with you. Before that, US FDA has given it. India has not given it. We practice here, so we need to have our own legal backup strong. Right? Since because the FDA has, DCGI has already given the Cana this approval, now you should not have any kind of deterrence in prescribing these molecules in a patients who actually need SGLT2 and would be benefited.
Well, of course, there's no evidence, and I don't expect it to work. See, we are talking of diabesity, which essentially means a combination of established type 2 diabetes and obesity. Naturally, the greater the A1C, the greater will be the weight loss potential for any SGLT2 inhibitor for that matter. So if you're speaking of pre-diabetes and non-diabetes, you're not expected to get weight loss.
Even with 300 mg, because it has got like GLP-1 like action, no?
No, but all this is very minimal. There's no evidence as of now in pre-diabetes. There's no evidence.
Thank you.
Can you just elaborate why it does not work in non-diabetic obese individuals, canagliflozin 300?
Any SGLT2 inhibitor, I have told you initially, it works primarily by glucoseuria. For glucoseuria, you need to have hyperglycemia by and large. It's not expected to cause a reduction in the threshold in non-diabetic individuals. To an extent as to improve hyperglycemia, you're going to improve hyperglycemia. If you have normoglycemia, it's not expected to improve.
I would just add and little argue with Dr. Godbole. You may get even weight reduction in a patients without diabetes, or you will surely get some benefit in pre-diabetes. Why I am arguing is simply because of mechanism of action. I do off-label use, I can tell you, but I am not recommending anyone to use as an anti-obesity drug, especially with Cana 300 milligram. When you don't have option, you have nothing now. Even Lorcaserin is banned now. Now the point is, see, to call diabetes, you need to have your fasting blood sugar more than 126 and PP more than 200 milligram. To become a non-diabetic, your fasting blood sugar has to be less than 100 and PP less than 140. So some people with blood sugar between or prior to 126 or prior to 200, if you use SGLT2 inhibitor, you can utilize this glucosuria up to the blood sugar of 70. So when the Cana 300 milligram was given, the Tmax came down to at the level of 70. So someone having a blood sugar of more than 70 up to the diabetic level of 126 or 199, you can actually do the glucosuria in a non-diabetic patient. So you are basically losing calorie through your urine, and eventually you might get weight loss. I do have in my clinical practice, which is off-label, where I have used in a non-diabetic patients with obesity, and you would not believe there is a tremendous weight loss. But then I agree with Dr. Godbole that the weight loss would be, of course, higher in diabetic patient compared to the non-diabetic.
It's like a law of diminishing returns. how much will you spend for a few kgs of weight loss? Most of our patients would be reluctant to spend 3,000 rupees a month for maybe a couple of kgs. So if you're having normoglycemia, yeah, it might show a little weight loss, but maybe a couple of kgs in most people. Of course, there are exceptions. But is the patient willing to spend 3,000 rupees a month for 2 kgs of weight loss? It's a law of diminishing returns. You'll get higher returns if there is hyperglycemia.
Is there any better role for dapagliflozin or empagliflozin, or is canagliflozin the best? Because it also protects the kidneys while it's about it.
Sir, this is not a matter of best. It's a matter of how the trial is being published. For example, the Impari was the first CB outcome trial in the GLT2 class, and the Impari is the highest selling molecule in the world as of now, because that they had the first lead in the CB outcome. Now in the next race was in the Cana. Cana was second to get the MACE level indication. Now DEPA has done heart failure trial called DEPA heart failure. They got the level for heart failure. The Cana did the renal outcome trial in the Credence. They got the renal benefit. So it's just a matter of time. You can't say that A is better than B or B is better than C or vice versa. It's just a matter of who came with the trial first, who came with the data first, and that's why they are getting these approval. But yes, on paper, as of now, the renal benefit indication is only with the Cana. The heart failure benefit is only with the dapagliflozin, and the CB death benefit is only with the IMPA. So how can you say one is better than another? Everyone has got something in their hand.
All these similar trials are being conducted. They are in the pipeline for other SGLT2 inhibitors. So as the trial results come out, I'm sure labels will change, and eventually we'll be wiser, maybe after a couple of years, as to whether they differ really, the SGLT2 inhibitors, for their renal benefits and the cardiovascular benefits, or heart failure benefits.
And in our economic conditions, is remagliflozin, has it any role?
See, again, I'm telling you, it depends on the evidence. Remo has evidence for, mechanism of action, and it has a head-to-head trial with dapagliflozin, but that's not for CV outcome or renal benefit. So there is no evidence. So if you're someone going by evidence, then there's no evidence for CV benefit or renal benefit with remogliflozin. And there are no trials, to my knowledge, in the pipeline as well. It's very expensive, okay?
Not only that, the Remo, although they claim they have got a head-to-head trial with dapagliflozin, but it has to come into the public domain. It's not published. It's a data on file as claimed by Glenmark. And I have no hesitations to ask that this should have come to the public domain. I always question DCGI, how can you give them approval without publishing the paper? Bring it to the evidence in front of public. And I don't want to go into further on the Remo issue head-to-head with DEPA. I mean, in India, there has to be some legal system. You can't do a trial head-on with a competitive molecule without asking approval from the company which produced DEPA. So this is unlegalized way of doing a trial, even if it has been done. And for that matter, even if the Glenmark claims that they have got a trial head-to-head of Remo with DEPA, it has to come into the public domain. It's not on data on file when you go to attend the Remo program. Ask them that please bring it to the public domain. Publish into a reputed journal with at least minimum impact factor, not in the journal, which is a predatory journal being paid journal. 99% of journal in the world is predatory journal. You pay money, it's being done by a pharma company, and they publish it. Do it in a good impact journal, and then we all are there to help you out. This is my simple request.
So it was a very good session. Thank you both the speakers, and thank you audience for participating actively. And now we'll head forward to the next session. Thank you.